What's up, guys? David here, and welcome to the Fit Pro Daily. Right here, right now, in the middle of January, it's absolutely freezing, so I've got my coat on. But what I've got coming up for you today is a massive interview with Nicole Renee. Nicole, like us previously, had her own studio, but as you'll see from her story, it just wasn't giving her the life that she wanted. She then moved online, and as the headline said, she'd really been able to take her online fitness business off. So what I did, I brought her on, interviewed her, got all the information to share with you. So this is how Nicole transitioned from a studio to online in as little as 8 months, getting to 20 to 30k American dollars. So enough of me talking, let's dive into this week's guest interview. Good evening, everybody, and welcome to this week's guest interview, or the actual first live guest interview of 2022. Nicole, welcome. How was Christmas for you?
Oh, Christmas was awesome. I actually took holiday in Florida and I was on the beach, so it was pretty awesome. It's something that myself and my partner do every year. We just try to get away from everything and just hang out at the beach. So it was cool.
Nice, yeah. A bit different to the weather here in the UK. It was cold, it was windy, it was wet. Yeah, that's a standard Christmas here in the UK. Yeah.
For sure.
And apologies, I'm at home. You can see it's pitch black outside now as well. Usually do these in the office, but because you're all the way in New York, is that where you're based?
I'm based in Rhode Island. So
Nice.
yeah.
Okay, yeah. Cool.
It's not very sunny here either. It's kind of dark and snowy. So
kind of like here then.
Yeah.
Okay, so an interesting one today then. So when you came on previously, we talked about like your studio and how you did well in your studio, but now we're going to talk about the complete transition, going from a studio to moving 100% online, not doing them both, moving 100% online, and then actually smashing it online at the same time. So there's really going to be loads of people watching this who are thinking, "I'll do both. I'll never go at one," or "I just want to see how it's all done." So let's have a little bit of a backstory. What was it like having the studio and all that type of thing then?
You know what? Having the studio was like an amazing experience for my partner and I. There were some good times, some bad times, some crying times. Obviously, as a gym owner, we've all seen all sorts of different times. But I feel like it was a valuable experience to understand what that was and what it was going to drive me forward, what I actually wanted out of life. And my biggest part was I didn't want to be a slave to my studio. And I felt like everything I was doing, everything I was planning, it was always surrounding my studio.
Nice. So that was kind of like the reason you wanted to move away from it. You just felt like you were there all the time.
Exactly. I felt like I was sleeping there all day.
So when you kind of decided it was time to move on, how difficult was it to almost say like goodbye to all these clients that you build all these great relationships with?
It's funny you say that because I had this like moment. It was around May. I was on the floor and I remember messaging my partner and I was like, I just can't do this anymore. Because at the time I was building up my back end on my online. I was also building, I was trying to figure out what I was going to do with the studio. And I was like, I just knew in my heart I had to close my studio. Like I knew I couldn't be the best me and the best coach and best owner for both. And I was like, I can help way more people, online than I ever could with the studio and be able to live wherever I needed to live and go on a holiday and actually be there for my family. So that was the biggest drive for me to actually go completely online. On the floor moment.
So before we dive into the online and moving online and everything, if you were now deciding, you know what, I'm going to reopen my studio, what would you do differently this time to open the studio than you did previously?
Not open one. No, I would be a complete absent owner. I would hire on coaches right away. I would also hire on a mentor to get me set up properly. As you know, I worked very hard with my ads coming, just making my studio and stuff like that. You helped me with that. And actually being able to actually come into the studio space with an actual system rather than everything duct taped together. So I feel like between a mentor, getting a coach and having your systems in place would be something that I would 100% start off with.
Nice. Okay. So you had this moment last year and you're like, you know what, I need to transition away from a studio.
Mm-hmm.
Why not do both? Why not have an online fitness business and a studio and your own physical place?
And that was definitely something I had considered. But with all the restrictions and the lease hikes, and people are getting very, very afraid to actually come in. I figured it was the best. It was the best, direction for me and the business as a whole. It was just taking up so much in me because I was just like, okay, maybe I'll do this. I'll make more. I can pay more on the studio if I'm online. But I'm like, I have to sever the limb where this is and see where this is going to go.
Yeah. So it was kind of like if you did both, it's just going to take up even more time.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
Okay, cool. Okay. So you've decided pull the plug and moving online.
Mm-hmm.
What is the first step? If someone's watching this thinking, you know what, I feel like Nicole did with my studio, or I'm watching this and I'm just getting started and I want to start online. What is the first step to succeeding on, or to just getting started?
Yeah. So the first step really is just putting yourself out there and be like, I'm going to go all in. No matter what you do, you have to be like, I'm going to show up online. I'm going to reach out to my current clients. I'm going to tell them about this amazing new, business I'm offering. I offered my bootcamp people a special price for my actual online program. I showed them exactly like what I was offering, how much more I was going to provide them. And I also asked for referrals to kind of celebrate my new transition in my business. And I got some amazing referrals just out of that. So I was able to get a full burst of clients just off of those referrals, as well as my bootcamp clients. And then the second thing was I picked a date. I said, hey, we're going all online this date. This is the app. We're going to have some introduction sessions, and these are going to be our group sessions.
Nice. Yeah. So launching with a founder member, I can just 100% agree with that. Like when we've done it with Lead Deck now, it's kind of like taken off. So 100% I've done it. Nicole's done it. If you're wanting to get started, put it out to some founder members, offer them a special price. And in exchange for that price, they have to do certain things, give you a Facebook review, give you a video review, give you loads of testimonials and all that stuff. Okay, so this is your close network. These are people you already know, family, friends, current members and stuff. Mm-hmm. So these are just people within our network. How do you then start finding more potential interest outside of your network?
Well, outside of my potential network, I also build referral campaigns with different networking people I already had. Like, for example, I was part of a BNI group as well as other networking groups. And I actually created email campaigns within my back-end system. So it was actually telling people how I was going to give them a referral bonus. Like, for example, they can make up to $1,000 with 10 referrals. And I wanted people to know this. I'd be like, hey, so-and-so, I saw your profile on BNI or LinkedIn, we have a lot in common. I'd love to see how we can be referral partners. So I started a lot of conversations like that. I just went out there and I found actual contacts I had on a regular basis, and I kind of built from there.
Yes, it's quite an interesting way of doing it. Like you say, you're kind of showing them a clear path that you want to earn an extra bit of money. Feel free to talk, kind of almost a bit like the Herbalife kind of way. Or here's a load of people, here's my product, go and tell people about it, and you can earn extra cash. But it's a great way. It doesn't cost you anything.
No.
And the only time you have to pay is when someone actually does refer you. But when they refer you, you actually get this big chunk of cash, these new clients coming into your fitness business.
Right.
So did you have any other ways then?
I did. I also did a beta launch. I did a couple different beta launches, like beta 1.0, 2.0, 3.0, just to kind of get the kinks out and stuff like that. And I, obviously I had the whole program set up in stone. It's not that hard to actually put something out there, but to actually have it online and seeing what people will like and don't like, that's a whole nother thing completely. As you know, it's a little bit different than running a boot camp. So the online stuff for sure, it's more nutrition and mindset driven, because at the end of the day, you need to make sure they're actually showing up and doing what they need to do. So it was a lot. That was the other major shift in making these partners realize that this is what they needed.
Cool. Okay.
Overall.
So you've launched, you've told your network, you're telling all these other people to kind of refer you and build an even extended network.
Mhm.
But what made you different to the other thousands of fit pros in the US and around the world who decided to go online? How did you manage to stand out?
Well, I did a few different things. I also ran ads. I ran ads to a conversation chat off my business page, and I also ran ads, getting to know me kind of a campaign, what exactly I've gone through on a regular basis. I felt like that was super important. There's so many different like celebrities and all that other crap out there, and there's so many things they can actually pick. So I wanted them to know my story. So I went back to like how I actually introduced my studio, because I remember when we set up my ad with you, it was just like, hey, I'm looking for 10 people, and it was pretty much the same thing. And being like, hey, I'm looking for 10 people. I talked about myself, my story, and who I was, and I kind of restarted the journey with these new people, because obviously the boot camp people and the people from that audience, some were good leads, but they're not the same people either that you're going to need for your online audience.
And I think that's a key thing, and that's something I often forget about, is when you bring in new people into your network, whether it comes from the referrals or from ads or from any other place, a lot of these people might not know your story. And by sharing it every other month, once a quarter, every 6 months, it really builds that stronger bond, because they know why you do it, they understand you a lot better, and it makes them trust you a lot quicker, I'm guessing, as well.
It definitely does, and it's very funny because people always ask me, what's your niche? What's your niche? The interesting part, I just kind of fell into this niche sharing my, my divorce story, and I had, all my different stories, and I have a lot of women I work with that are going through a horrible divorce. So what you put out there is what you're going to get too. Like I'm able to connect to these women a little bit differently than anyone else. Obviously I don't have kids, so I'm not going to go after the mommy niche, so I just put out there what I knew and what I was good at, and just shared my experiences. That's pretty much what I did for that.
Yeah, and that's like a big true saying as well, that the perfect target audience is yourself, because
Exactly,
you know it inside out. Okay, so networking, ads, referrals, all this great stuff to find clients. Then you're kind of sharing your story. People are getting to really know you, like you. You're kind of talking about your beta launches and stuff. So how do you convince these people to actually buy from you? Because I'm guessing an online program isn't super cheap. I'm guessing you charge a proper amount.
Yeah, so the minimum amount is usually $2,500 for 6 months. And I always start with an actual conversation online and then push them to an actual sales call. We don't do any sales over the direct messaging or anything like that. And the leads that are coming off of the ads, I have like a little bit of a script to kind of figure out what's going on, to make sure they are qualified, and then we go through a qualified application in particular, because we want to make sure that they're ready to make any kind of investment. And then we can push them towards like a call, and usually calls are anywhere from 30 to 45 minutes long. So
nice. Yeah. And then when you say, oh yeah, it's actually £2,500 or $2,500 for the 6 weeks, do you have a lot of buy?
No, it's very, very interesting, because it can go both ways, but I will tell you, it's easier to sell a $2,500 package than a bootcamp package. And I never thought I would say that in a million years, but the people that are ready to do these changes, they're ready to pony up the money, and they want to go all in. Like, a bootcamp is great to a certain level, but what I'm offering them is a full transformation package. They're going to get all my coaching, everything ready to go, and it's going to change your life in 6 months.
Yeah.
So.
I can 100% agree with that, especially for our online ad clients. You definitely do see a difference between like my studio to the online clients that we do have, who are more focused, more determined. They know what they want and they're ready to invest. Whereas when you come into a gym or studio, it's like, let's join this program for a little bit, see what it's about, and then I can maybe move on to something different. Okay, so it looked like you started to build out some sort of system, some sort of pathway to take a prospect who didn't know you, to like you, to trust you, to sell to you. So how did you manage to come up with these systems? What other systems do you have that potentially other people should be considering?
So it's interesting on that, because coming from my old system, I had Active Campaign, I had Zapier, I had, oh my god, I had a billion spreadsheets for my pipelines. And then, I switched over to something like Lead Deck completely, because you're able to create different pipelines. For example, you're able to create one for like lead gen fully pipeline. You're able to have like a full customer lifeline pipeline. And I was able to even drill down to organic LinkedIn, Facebook organic LinkedIn. So like you're able to actually granularly go into this without having several different spreadsheets or anything like that.
Yeah. Even the way you're saying it, it sounds like it's a massive job. Yeah. So
it was in the beginning.
So for somebody then who doesn't have these ideas of the different things that you talked about, or they don't know where to get started, where does someone get started in building out these systems and building out the funnels and the emails and the campaigns and the automations and everything like that?
Well, the first thing really is to reach out for help for someone that actually knows what they're talking about with the back end system. Because once you get the back end systems, built, you don't have to worry about it. It's one of those things. Once it's built, it's set and ready. You just make simple edits and adjustments, and then you can kind of go from there.
Yeah, so it's going to make your life so much easier then.
Oh yeah, a little bit of pain goes a long way. Like it just gets it all done, and you can kind of go from there. Like for example, like you can start very simply, like putting some emails together, and having a chat about something like Lead Deck that you can actually send out the marketing material as soon as someone enters your pipeline stage, whatever that may be. And it's going to go through the actual nurturing stages, and then it'll tag it at the end for whatever you wish, and then it'll go on to the next life stage. So if they haven't bought, they're going to stay in your ecosystem, but at least you'll know where they've been. So say like Sally Sue messages, you can be like, oh, Sally Sue's been through all these things but still hasn't bought.
Yeah. Nice. Okay. So any final ideas or tips or advice for somebody then wanting to either transition away from their studio to online, or just wants to go all in online?
So my best advice for this is to go all in on yourself first. I know from the start, I was questioning what I should do, but you know what you want to do. You either want to go all in online, or you want to go all in your studio. And it's just like when you're going for like an actual fitness goal, you got to go all in, to make this successful. And I feel like that has been like the biggest thing, just letting go what I know I needed to let go, and just getting the job done.
Nicole, amazing. So for anybody now who's like super pumped and kind of like, oh, how does Nicole, all this stuff? How can people potentially reach out and have a chat with you then?
Yeah, feel free to message me on Facebook under Nicole Renee. I'd love to talk about like systems or any other, campaigns to get people actively involved on a regular basis. I feel like the system aspect, the back end aspect has like completely changed my business, even in a few years completely. So it's just so nice to have everything organized in one spot,
Yeah, well, you can tell Nicole's gone from stressed out gym owner to like super happy online.
I know, it's like you see pretty colors, and you don't have like a bunch of documents open. It's cleaner screen to look at.
Nice, Nicole. I appreciate you coming on today, and I'm sure we'll have you on further down the line as your online business keeps growing.
Of course, anytime. Let me know.
I'll speak to you soon. Thank you for coming on.
Bye, guys.
Okay, so that was Nicole giving us a great insight into what it was like running a studio, how she would do things again, plus how she was able to transition online, some of the heartache that came from it, but how she's managed to turn it around and to really make this super successful. We've got a lot more stuff coming up for you this week, but for now, if you love the episode, please do subscribe, comment, or like, and I'll speak to you all tomorrow.